Right, just a very quick video before the storm starts. You know that I'm into electronic conspicuity, long words for making drones or aircraft appear on maps. And you probably all know, if you're a viewer here, that it's coming our way. Manufacturers are buying, are fighting, are wanting to sell us devices to one device to rule them all, so that we can be tracked and be seen by aircraft and other airspace users. So there on the top right, that's our little map we've got going in South Africa of several ADS-B receivers of all our chums coming together and chucking it onto a server, and there's the results. This feed also can be put into Mission Planner, so we can see aircraft coming in real time. Aircraft that are equipped with ADS-B or Mode S transponders, a transponder, transmission and response. So that's that. That's all well and good. And you'll also know, if you've watched and looks around, that I've played with, well, I've looked at FLARM, but I can't afford FLARM. If you've got some radios from some long-range gear from Trappy, you can get FLARM for that, and that's pretty cool. And that is a lot of gliders have FLARM, a lot of light aircraft, and in the UK, even some RAF aircraft have it, because they are jetting around at low level where gliders and paragliders live. There's an open source version. We know I prefer open source every time. That's called Open Glider Network, and I've been playing with these ESP32s and connecting a GPS to them and creating, and this is an interesting bit moving forward in a moment, creating ground stations for that using a Raspberry Pi and an SDR dongle. So that's a little bit of a faff. It's quite easy, but it's a little bit of a faff, and it's relatively expensive. Now, I found out that there are new versions of these ESP32s that have the GPS built in, and they're called TTGO-Beams. It's one of the ways you can buy them, and there it is. And it's quite a big thing, because it's got an 18650 battery holder on it. When I ordered it, I should have thought, you know me, I don't think much, that it was going to make it bigger, and it does. But there's a GPS antenna. It's got an M8N GPS on it, and this is an antenna, 868 antenna from another thing that I have. So it's LoRa radios. Open Glider Network uses FSK for the transmission method. This, which I've jumped ahead, which I'm going to talk about, doesn't. It uses a different one. So I bought this thing, or ordered this thing from China, and obviously the mandatory wait for it. And then I thought I'd have a look about and see if there's the latest Open Glider Network firmware for it. And I found out that, look at the browser window behind you, there's another electronic conspicuity thing gaining popularity, and it's free and has really, you know, some, I haven't thought this through, some solid thinking behind it, some very solid thinking behind it, and it's run by genuine people in the UK, and they're paraglider drivers, and it's so they can see each other when they're flying, but of course we can use it to track other things. So that's AirWhere, not that AirWhere, a different AirWhere, and it's pretty cool. So I put the firmware, flashed it on to this, and then you need, we've got to have some way of receiving it, and quickly realised that all it takes is another ESP32. So it's dropped. I should have had some costings available, shouldn't I? But it's dropped the Raspberry Pi and SDR out of the loop, which is great. And as I mentioned, it's LoRa, proper LoRa transmissions rather than FSK. So that's the potential to go a little bit further, I think. But that's all subject to best antennas. Brucey put it. One of the reasons I'm making this is Bruce put an electrical antenna video out this morning. I need Bruce to make an 868.2 megs high gain omnidirectional vertical, please, Uncle Bruce. So it's these antennas make a difference. There's I'll try and remember. I never remember to put things in the description, but I'll try and remember to put in the description. There's the Swiss guy that does all the radio stuff, and he did some tests of these antennas that come with these devices, and they're way off frequency on average. And we've discovered that with 433 antennas for FPV and for C2 links for Mission Planner and stuff like that. But anyway, So it's simple. It's simple. Look, I've got here's one I made earlier. This is one of the Open Glider network trackers I have. Just all you had to do is reroute the TX pin to pin 23 on the board, and Robert's your father's brother. So that's that one transmitting, and that, of course, by adding a GPS, this is a standalone unit, and a standalone unit is what we need in our RPAS, because we are not going to be there doing the following. I should have said that these boards have Bluetooth and GPS as well, which means if you're driving a glider or a paraglider, you can get it to talk to some software on your smartphone. And what that allows you to do in the manned setting, which I think is very cool, as well as see other aircraft, other paragliders or gliders using the system, is you can send messages. So if you want to be rude to a colleague flying near you, or if you've got a problem, then you can tell that person. It also does the radios do it for themselves. It also does all the clever mesh networking and things like that, and that's really, really cool. And where am I going with this? Again, not thinking. So because you've connected using your ESP32 via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you can use the GPS on your smartphone. So all you have to do to make yourself an airborne unit is get the software, LK8000 or XE-SAW, I think another one's called, if you're a glider driver or whatever. Flash a firmware onto this, name it, you give the unit a name and identity and all that sort of thing, all done from the AirWhere site. All the software's on the AirWhere site, and it works. And that's the main thing. The main reason I'm going for this long rant is this is the first LoRa thing I've done where I haven't had to have a huge fiddle and faff and think about it. It just works, and that's amazeballs. So I've flashed that, got an air unit, got a couple of air units working. Here's the receiving station. So air to air works about 15 kilometers, air to ground as well. LoRa really does need to be line of sight, but you can further enhance the system by having your own receiver and then pulling data into this moving map so other people can see. And I'm hoping I can drag then this information into Virtual Radar Server. If I can bring it into Virtual Radar Server, then we can bring it into our big map and have very cheap. It's about I don't know what that is in rand. Each one of these in dollars. Each one of these is about 200 rand. I can't think that that's more than about 10 US dollars, something like that. Again, another thing I should have thought about before we started. So it's really very cheap electronic conspicuity. And remember, other people are going to want to charge you a fortune to get into their system. So as a community, I think we've got to decide on a standard, be it Open Glider Network, FLARM or AirWhere. We've got to decide on a standard. We've got to jump on board and make it a fait accompli, really. When the regulators say, well, what do we all use? We say this. Otherwise, we're going to end up paying for services that bolt on top of unmanned traffic management services. There's definitely one company wants to do that. That company looks like it's on its way out, thankfully. But that's what we can expect unless we all start taking the lead. Anyway, round the houses, ranty little video. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell thing for notifications for the very occasional videos that we do. But join us at 2100 GMT every Tuesday for drone stuff this week, where Bruce, myself and others just talk nonsense for an hour or so. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.